Alright, this is FlyMacGuffin, and we're gonna do a Let's Play of Dark Souls 2. Normally I don't do games right after they come out, but I will make an exception for this one since I enjoyed it a lot. I just recently finished it. I'm very thorough when I play through games and stuff, so I do know quite a bit about it. I probably don't know about every secret in the game, and there's probably some mechanics I don't have down 100%, but I feel pretty confident I can give a good showing. Like I said, I don't normally do games immediately, and I definitely didn't want to do it blind, but I did think about streaming this when it first came out. I bought this, I actually pre-ordered it, and basically started playing it the day it was released. So, let's just get started and do a new game. I'm gonna assume that you know about Dark Souls 1, because it's hard to explain the mechanics, I suppose, without comparing them to Dark Souls 1. This is obviously the PC version, which is kind of better than the console version, especially graphically and hardware-wise. And there doesn't seem to be as many problems with the port that I've heard about. There were some problems with the servers initially, but I haven't heard anything about it recently. And because it's new, there's not as many people, I guess, using cheats and stuff like that. So, notably the controls are pretty similar, but I did change the run button to also do jumping, which is by default one of the sticks. So, let's just go ahead and start a new game. We're going to be playing online, obviously. No reason not to do that.
Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream, a murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything. Once branded, the symbol of the curse, an augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drang Lake. Perhaps you're familiar? No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why. like a moth drawn to a flame. Your wings will burn in anguish, time after time. For that is your fate, the fate of the cursed.
So, yeah, opening cutscenes probably a little bit more cryptic since it doesn't tell us anything about our actual situations. It's like, oh, you got the dark side, now you're screwed. Didn't say anything about where we are, what we're doing, just kind of things. Now we're in a gazebo, kind of all zombified and dead. We're not actually, like, dead, we're undead. But, yeah. Basically, just like the first game, we got the dark sign. Gotta do something about the dark sign. Go to a land, do a curse thing. Pretty similar. Although the outcome is a little bit different in this game. As you'll see. So no, we start out in Things Betwixt with some ghosts. Hello, ghosts. Those are people doing New Game Plus by the looks of things. They have fancy gear. So, we are a zombified bro with some crappy gear. The imported gear is what every character starts with, and it's pretty crappy. The only reason to wear it is if you start as the deprived, who starts with nothing anyway. It's interesting that he actually takes his clothes off, and you can just put them right back on. The deprived has higher stats though. We start at level 1 with 1 in every stat, which means you don't fight anything because you'll die. Don't need an item to use messages in this game. You can use them right off the bat, but can't do it in this area. Get some things. We start as a deprived, actually, before we do anything. We'll get to pick our class later. We start with the dark sign. Does the same thing as in Dark Souls 1, although I don't think it takes away your humanity when you use it. Black separation crystal does the same thing. You can get rid of people you've summoned, or leave if you are summoned, and the Bone of Order is a thing you use for if you get disconnected. We don't start with anything else except our gear. So, controls, as I said, pretty similar to Dark Souls 1. You might notice that we were at half health. Dark Souls 2, unlike Dark Souls 1, uses a mechanic that's pretty similar to one from Demon Souls, where if you die, you lose health. I think it's 10% each time, and it caps out at 50% normally. So here we can see these things. I believe these are called kobolds. They're just kind of these little weird monkey dog things, and you can fight them, but I wouldn't recommend doing it right now, since we have nothing, and yeah, they probably kill us. So here we get an item, a rusted coin. Those are consumable items that when you use them, boost your luck, which means your item drops better. And I think it's only 1% better chance. These guys are not hostile, there's 5 or 6 of them in here. But if you attack one, they'll start chasing you, but they'll only chase you to about this bridge. Speaking of this bridge, we can see this big tree here with a door in it. That's actually where we're supposed to go. There's plenty of places to fall off into the death here. Look over there. You can see there's an item down there. I'm getting that momentarily, but first I want to show you this hidden path. And these bushes is a hidden path with some weird monster footprints. Let's go follow them. Maybe it's Godzilla. Hello, Godzilla. What's going on? Oh, no, wait. It's the bipedal hippopotamus. This is an ogre. It basically looks like a... actually looks more like a rhino. Because I like the folds like an Indian rhinoceros. There's an item in front of him on the ground there, but if we try to get it, he'll aggro on us. So, actually, he probably won't. Until we actually pick the item up. But I'm not going to do that. You can get close to him and he will swing at you, so... We don't want to fight him right now with no equipment, so... I'm just going to run away. We can run past him, and there's another cave over there, but... We'll deal with him better once we've actually picked a class and have some gear. I'm not going to be picking the Deprived, because I did that the first time I played through the game. And it doesn't necessarily make the beginning harder, it makes it more tedious. And then once you're past the beginning, because you have basically a clean slate character, you can do some pretty cool stuff with the Deprived. So it's not any bonus to difficulty, I suppose. Although it does lend yourself to doing a very balanced character, which could be a kind of a trap. So once we go in here, we'll get another cutscene and we can choose our class and stuff.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
It's pretty funny, the first time you do this, you actually get an achievement for this. Now, I'm playing on the PC version with a controller, but you'll notice that the cursor comes up when things like that happen. That's not something I can avoid. So we're going to be... I can't do that, so we'll be... Oh, I can't do that either. So... we'll be TV's Frank. If you don't get the reference, then I'm not going to explain it to you. Oh, wait, hang on. You hit OK twice, hit... Fremden. Then it will. Cancel that, because I obviously use the keyboard.
At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
So that is a human effigy. What they do is they turn you human, which is basically what they just did. Now we can choose our class. I'm going to go with the Knight, but I want to explain a few things about your starting class. You can notice at the bottom, you start at various levels and have various levels of stats here. The average of stats is 5 or 6 for most things. You'll notice that there's a lot of things that hover around that level. The Warrior is the only one that starts with a shield. And he has a... I don't think you can even look at the gear here. Every class but the Deprived starts with 10 healing items as well, which are called Life Stones. They're consumable healing items that you can get later. It's kind of a hassle to not have them as the Deprived, but it's not much of a bonus either. So you start with some... okay gear as a Warrior, but you start with a really bad sword. The Knight starts with probably the best starting gear defensively, with the exception of not having a shield, and he starts with a decent weapon, a broadsword. The Swordsman starts with, I know at least the Scimitar is a +1, and I believe the short sword he had is also a +1, and he starts with some okay gear. The Bandit is very interesting because you'll notice here that the other guys, while not being magical classes, 5s in each of the mental abilities down there at the bottom for the Warrior. The Knight starts with 4, 6, 3. 3 is Intelligence. The Bandit starts with 1 Intelligence and 2 Attunement. He does start with 8 Faith, though. Which means for min-maxing, like, magical stuff, the bandit is probably the best for choosing, and he starts pretty low level too. So for having that low of stats and having, you know, if you want to do just a pure physical character, you don't care about the rest of that, the bandit's a pretty good choice. The disadvantage is that he starts with 3 adaptability, which is uses agility, which is your invincibility frames while rolling. It's sort of like the resistance stat as well. And it also increases the speed at which you use items, so beware of that. Magical dudes are a little bit different. Cleric starts with Intelligence 4. And the Sorcerer starts with Faith 4. If you want to do magic, it's a good idea to start as one of the magic classes. In particular, it's a very good idea if you want to use sorceries to start as a sorcerer. You can get some sorcerer stuff and cleric stuff early in the game, but they're stacked for stats for it, and it's quite a good idea. One of the weird things is the cleric only starts with the chest armor. No, not even any pants. The explorer is interesting in that they're basically just a guy based on a class based on items. They start with a dagger and some crossbow bolts, but they don't start with a crossbow, it looks like. They also start with the merchant set, which is nice because the helmet on that increases your drop chance of items. He also starts with a magical resist ring for magic damage, and a bunch of items. Which I'll explain what the items he starts with do, because I actually already picked up one of the coins he has. He also starts pretty low level, but then you have the Deprived, who starts with nothing. It doesn't take the gear you have away from you, so you can still put that back on, but he doesn't start with any spells, no healing items, no nothing. Oh, and these two guys also start with the basic spell for your class, which is heal, and the magic arrow. The sorcerer and the explorer start with a dagger for weapon, but the cleric has a mace. Pretty much everybody has a decent weapon to start with, aside from the warrior, who, you know, you can find a weapon pretty quickly. And the deprived, obviously. The dagger is good for certain things. It's got the highest backstab damage you can get from any of the starting weapons, so it's decent. I'm going to be picking the knight, because that's the kind of playstyle I want to go with, and I think it's probably the strongest at the beginning of the physical damage classes, simply because of the defensive value of his armor. I could be wrong, that's just kind of my experience with things. Normally I would pick the deprived, but I've already done that, so... Oh no, not that. The knight. And you could basically do anything with any of the physical classes, and they'll be pretty much the same unless you want to go down the magic path, in which case you don't want to pick the bandit. So, yes. The knight also starts at the highest level, so he's got the highest hit points, because almost every stat raises hit points. So, gift, there's no, like, automatic best choice like the master key. Or in some things, the fire bombs would be a good choice if you were the thief. The life ring is the only thing that stays with you permanently, but the petrified something, the rest of these are consumable items. The healing wares, in particular, have a good utility to them. It gives you 10 more of those life stones, a couple of upgraded life stones, and some healing moss, which is good for curing poison. Human effigy. Gives you a thing that makes you become human. You'll get a few of those in the game. Homeward Bones. I don't know why you would ever pick this for the beginning item. And the Seed of Tree of Giants is interesting because those are really rare. But they're also not all that useful. The Bonfire aesthetic is probably a good second choice, I would say. After the Petrified something, maybe the Life Ring, I guess. Most of these you can get during the game. All of them you can get during the game. But the petrified something has a very specific use that I want to have. So, do I really want to worry about this? I suppose I do. Let's make him look like TV's Frank. As much as we can. Gotta give him the weird hair. Oh, the curly Q, there we go. That's a TV's Frank thing. Give him some, pale blonde hair. Don't really want to deal with the settings, so we'll leave it like that, I guess. It's kind of a chubby guy with some white hair with a curly Q on it. That's TV's Frank right there. So, finalize our creation and go.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You'll lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
And because I pre-ordered the game, I start with a bunch of stuff, most of which I can't use. So we could talk to these NPCs here, and most of them.
You must go on a journey without rest. Well, I suppose if you find yourself at an impasse. But if your will is yet unbroken, then you may return here. To start again. With a clean slate.
She's referring to the respec mechanic that this game has, which I really like. We can't do that until later. The other two just laugh at us. Do you say anything else?
Now, go along, go along.
We'll be dealing with that rhino man here in a minute, but let's talk to this person.
This is a limbo. A link between Drangleic and the outer world. Fair traveller, I know that you must have a story. Why else would you visit such a place?
Curse.
This lost, decayed kingdom. My name is Millibeth. The old women were once firekeepers. I am here to look after them. It is what my mother did, and her mother before her, and so on.
It's impressive. So these are firekeepers. You kind of hang out in here, not guarding any bonfires. I guess maybe that's a bonfire? No.
The old women were keepers of the fire. But now, the fire shows signs of fading. And the kingdom is beset by hollows.
Seems familiar. Now, if you talk to NPCs, eventually they will run out of dialogue, and this is the last line of dialogue she has for now.
The old women are sisters. I am told there was a fourth. Long ago, firekeepers were commonplace. But now they are lost, scattered to the winds.
So these are, the fourth one she's referring to is probably the person we were talking to in the early opening cutscene, so I guess that's that. Here's a treasure chest. One of the interesting things about the treasure chest in this game is, you see this is a wooden treasure chest. There are several types of treasure chests, but these are the basic treasure chests you'll find, and you'll see it moved when I punched it. You can actually destroy the treasure chest. And some of them are traps, and some of them are mimics, just like in Dark Souls 1. Well, I don't know if there are trap treasure chests in Dark Souls 1. But if you destroy that, or an enemy accidentally destroys it, the item inside will turn into rubbish, which has no use in this game. You can't even give it to, you know, other people or something like that, so there's absolutely no use for it. I suppose you can, I don't know, throw it away if you really want to. So let's go, since we have our sword and armor now, let's go take care of that ogre. Now, since I don't have a shield, and since, you know, this guy, you don't want to really try to block his attacks anyway. Two-handing your weapon is probably a good idea. Now, this guy will totally wreck you if you are careless against him. He's much easier if you are fighting him with a ranged character. The sorcerer in particular has no trouble killing this guy. The bandit has enough arrows to kill this one, but you will run out of a lot of your arrows. That thing where he falls down, he'll actually hit you, and it will deal a lot of damage to you. You don't want to do that. And I'm just trying to bait him into doing that attack animation while moving backwards towards the entrance where I came in at. I'll also do this. Hit him a couple times, but the first hit doesn't do that much damage. Oh, he fell down again. I don't think I hit him there. One thing to note is you can see that red bar below my weapon. Weapons have durability, just like in Dark Souls 1, but it's much more of an integral mechanic in the game, and less of a kind of a soul sink when you go back. But something that's better about it, I suppose, or is an easier thing to do, is that every time you rest at a bonfire, your weapons regenerate their stuff without having to get a smith box or anything like that. But if they break, you actually do have to go to a blacksmith to get it repaired. Ooh. I missed him there. Your weapons can also be damaged by hitting walls and stuff, so yeah. Be careful about that. Now, one of the things he can do is he can, like, sit on you if you come up behind him, so you gotta be really careful about that. Do I want to use a life gem here? As I said, these are... Well, I'll go ahead and demonstrate it. They heal slowly over time, and they heal about the same as an Estus Flask at the moment. But an Estus Flask heals a proportion of your health, I believe. Whereas these heal a set number of hit points. And the fact that they heal over time makes them good for maintenance heals, but not good for emergency heals. So if, like, you take a little bit of damage, or you have, like, a lull in the action on a boss or something, using a life gem can really be a good thing to do. Now, that said, get him to sit down there. Hit him a few times. That said, the Estus Flasks also heal over time, so you need to be careful. And I think we got him. And there is a reason to kill him, because he drops a very good item, the Stone Ring, which, notice that there are 4 ring slots in this game, reduces the poise of enemies, which is really, really nice, because I don't know if it actually shows up here. It doesn't look like it does. The poise damage of a weapon, I'll probably end up putting these things in my box rather than using them. If you look at in the equipment screen, over here is the poise damage of the weapon. Notice that the broadsword has 20. This increases it, I believe. I don't remember about how much it does, but for the broadsword at least, it puts it up into the next weapon class of damage for poise. So it's really nice. And let's pick up that item he was looking at over here, the gold pine resin. So it's well worth it to kill that guy if you're able to do so. If you're the deprived, you should probably come back and do it later. The other classes have well, I guess the Explorer would have a tough time of it too. At least he starts with a weapon, though. So let's continue with the game. So now that we have our ring, you notice below my health and stamina there's a little symbol there with a sword in an upward arrow. Something else you notice is that there's items you can damage, and because you can damage your weapon using hitting stuff, you kind of want to not use your main weapon for breaking stuff. So we get a Soul of Lost Undead, does what it does in Dark Souls 1, just gives you 200 souls, and a torch. Torches are mechanics that is a mechanic that lights up the area. You can light them at bonfires or other torch sconces that you've lit, but torches are useful for a lot of weird things later on. So you rest at the bonfire, and you'll notice immediately that there's a travel option. The reason that travel option is there is that you can no longer level up at bonfires, and you actually must go to a place we haven't been yet to level up and talk to an NPC, sort of like in Demon Souls. You might think that makes things a little bit easier, but it really doesn't, I would say. The area is a bit wider ranging, so if you had to walk through a bunch of areas to get back, it would be really, really annoying. And you also have this burn option. If you burn a human effigy, it will... I don't know if I explained human effigies, but if you use one, you turn human like a humanity, although you don't have to do it at a bonfire. If you burn a human effigy, it makes it so that you can't be invaded in the area for a little while. You also automatically start with the item box. Let's put away our pre-order crap. Some of which is useful, but I don't want to use it. In particular, this shield is pretty good. So, but we're not using that. We still have that helmet we started with, but let's just clean our inventory out a little bit, because we're not going to be using any of that junk. I might put the helmet back on, but I want to see TV's Frank glorious face. So we're done here. Could go back and kill those kobolds, but they're only worth 30 souls, and they don't do anything, and they don't drop anything. So this is the tutorial area proper. You see these torch sconces here, sort of like braziers or whatever. The fog doors here introduce us to the tutorial areas, and we see these hollows. You'll notice that they are wearing the same gear we started with, although it doesn't cover their faces much. I'm not going to be reading these because they basically tell you how to play the game. Now I'm going to be two-handing my sword because I don't have a shield, and because, well, that's what we're going to be doing here. So, there's a guy kind of ambushing us over here. You'll notice that I'm almost killing them in one hit. I don't think there's any class that can one-shot these guys. Get our introduction to backstabs here. If you read that message sign. Oh, you can also break these. Oop! Almost walked off the edge there with hitting them with a weapon. I mean, you can't read them if you do that, but whatever. And here, if you are the deprived, you will get your first weapon, a dagger. Now, you can dual wield in this game, and it's considerably better than it was in Dark Souls 1. Here we see our first ranged enemy, just kind of dodges arrows there. And then we have another friend over here. I don't think these guys can ever drop the gear that they have, so it's not worth it to kill them. One of the things that's a little bit, I suppose, easier in a way is that the enemies will stop spawning after a certain point. Which, when my first reaction to that was, well, I better actually kill these guys until they stop spawning so I can get all the souls I can out of them. Actually, I did one-shot that guy. That was probably because I was killing him, was hitting him during his attack animation, like a counterattack. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, because I just did it to that guy. It just didn't look like it had started yet. Get another life gem. The enemies will stop spawning if you kill them 10 times, I believe. And you can respawn them with a bonfire aesthetic, which is one of the items you can start with. So this sign will prompt us to look around, and if we look down there, we can see an item there. But over here, there's a ladder. We can kick it down, and then we can climb down the ladder. We're not going to. So, you can see that it kind of got interrupted there by the ladder. Are you going to redo that? Okay, it says give us smooth. And we picked up that smooth and silky stone earlier from over by the waterfall. I didn't explain what that did because I was going to explain it now. You can use those and they heal you a little bit. I wouldn't recommend doing that because it says here some in this land are in search of such zones. If the birds actually got to talk, Let's see if they talk. You can leave them these stones. You do...
give it Smooth.
There it goes.
Yes, you! Give us Silky!
And it's pretty obvious about it. Smooth and silky. The warm and soft was a bit more, I guess, cryptic. So you choose leave instead of discard.
Go nice. Go Smooth.
Yeah! Silky Smooth!
And just like in Dark Souls 1,
Yes,
you can get the item. Then we get a Crimson Water. That's pretty nice for that. Not necessarily useful for us, but what that does is it restores HP and spell uses. We can use that as a potion, basically. But the petrified something is also something you... No. You do here. And you'll get a random item.
Go nice. Go Smooth.
And you can get some really good stuff from this.
Silky Smooth!
And that's the only use of that item, so let's see what we get here. A Titanite slab. Well, that's not going to be useful until pretty far into the game, but that's a pretty significant drop from that. You can also get some pretty neat stuff from that. Later in the game, you'll get a lot of those smooth stones if you do certain things, and if I get some, I'll bring them back. I'll bring them here and give it to them. So, oh yeah, I forgot the item up there on the ledge. Let's go get it. Let's see one of those ogres over there. Past there, but there's a gap there. We can't get over there yet. Don't even talk to me, birds. I assume that they're birds because it's a bird nest, but you don't actually see them. It's just like in Dark Souls 1. Birds are invisible. Now, what does this say? I don't remember. Light sconces with a torch. Yep, I already explained that. Now, you might be tempted to light all the torches in the area. Doesn't do anything bad, but it also doesn't do anything good, I don't think. So over here, just some more hollows, some more stuff that's trying to explain the game mechanics to you. Not a big deal. Okay. And here we get our introduction to jumping. You can see there's an item over there, but there's a gap there. So you just want to jump. Now, the default controls, you actually jump with one of the sticks. I think it's the left stick, but I changed it so that it uses the Dark Souls 1 control of tapping the jump button, because that's much more what I'm used to. Now, you might notice that I've been going up the ladder fast, and you can do that by holding the run button. If you hold the run button while going down, you slide down the ladder, and if you tap the run button, you jump off the ladder. Do not do that at the top of the ladder. Because falling damage is pretty serious in this game. Probably more so than in Dark Souls 1, but hey. Here's our introduction to plunging attacks. Now, what's this one say? Ah, parrying. Parrying is something I haven't necessarily picked up yet. So you just jump down, doing a plunging attack and miss, because, hey, whatever. I tried to parry that guy, but I was wrong on the timing. Let's try parrying him again. Do it. Whatever. That there was the guard break. You push forward in the light attack and you do a guard break. If you do forward in a strong attack, you do the jumping attack. The guard break is sort of like the kick. It's not as good as the kick, I would say. It doesn't push them back as far, and it's a much slower animation. In here we get a cracked red eye orb. Very good item to be getting early in the game because they're quite valuable as far as the cost of souls that they have. I probably won't be using very many of those, if any at all, because, you know, invasions are very rare in this game, and those are what you use to invade. Plus, you know, maybe we'll do that, maybe we won't. So, down here we can jump off the ledge here. We can see into the next area. See there's a guy there, and a tree. I'm not sure why in video games there's all kinds of places that are underground or whatever that have trees in them. Not sure how that works, but whatever. So over here, we've got a gap here, and a guy, I don't know if you can see there, but he has a bow. Yeah, there we go. Let's dodge his arrows. And this will tell us to examine our surroundings, which basically means you want to look at the tree so you can see that you can knock it down. You can actually start crossing before it completes its falling animation. And here's the point where I think I died the first time playing this game on the Deprived. This is kind of a tough hole to fall into, because you actually will take a lot of damage when you land. This is a little bit deeper than the hole you fall in the first time, and I don't know if you can see it from here. But there's an archer up on the ledge. Right there. There he is. So you gotta be careful. And there's not a very good angle to plunging attack this guy. So you can try. Oh, I did get him. Okay, cool. But you can see I took a lot of damage there. Now, we're the knights, so we can take quite a bit of damage. We start with the most health and the best armor. So, I'm not in too much danger. There we go. Now, this armor is heavy, so some people might not consider this the best armor, but defensively it's the strongest. I think that the warrior armor might be almost as good or as good. So I'm going to use another healing gem here, because I'm going to have to provoke these ogres a little bit. I'm not going to fight them right now, because you don't get anything very good for them. And later on we can make this much easier. You don't actually see these enemies again until much, much later in the game. And as you can see, there are 2 of them. The first time I played this game, I basically kept fighting these guys until I was super hollow, because of, well, my obstinance and the fact that I was deprived and could not hurt them at all. So I just basically lure them over here. I got hit there. Let's go examine this boat here, or coffin. This is actually going to reset all the enemies, so. But if we go in the boat, it will do something special that's really weird. It changes you into a girl. And if you're a girl, it'll change you into a guy, etc., etc. So let's lure these guys away from the boat so we can reuse it, because, well, we want to be a dude, because we're TV's Frank. TV's Frank is a dude. While we're up here, let's actually open this shortcut here, back to the area. And they'll de-aggro in a minute, but one of the things you can do here is you can lure them across the bridge, and sometimes they'll fall off when they try to cross it. So you can get an easy 1,000 souls that way. But I don't want to do that. Because oftentimes they'll just try to take the straight line back to where they were, and, well, they're derp into a pit. It's pretty risky, just to demonstrate this, but, you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, he's abandoning his post, so I'm gonna go over there and interact with it. Now this is actually making things a little bit more dangerous, because that guy's going to be reset back to where he was. And as you can see, they do separate once you get them apart and away from each other. They're easier to fight. Bait that first one to attacking. Come up here. As I said, every time you use that, it respawns the enemies. So this guy's gonna be back up here, but you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I'm curious as if that counts as resting as a bonfire for that purpose, or if it like gives you extra uses of the dudes or whatever. I would think that it's just a hard respawn timer. Let's see if we can get one of these guys to fall off the edge here. They don't seem to want to fight me. Like I said, all you get from them is 1,000 souls, and you get a reward for doing it, but it's kind of a joke reward. I really think I should do it, but it's very tedious, so maybe I will just do that. I do want to show what happens. we're pretty much done with this area, so this is like the, I guess, final challenge of the area. Because there is no boss here. These guys do not drop anything at all. I'm not even gonna bother trying to hit him. I'm just gonna see if I can lure him off the edge here. I don't feel bad about doing any things like that to enemies, because like in Dark Souls, where you like knock the skeletons off the edges and stuff like that. Yeah, I hit him. Come on, bro. Chase me. If you're a ranged character, you can kind of goad them into crossing by shooting at them. This one seems pretty smart, though. Alright. Let's not tarry, then. I don't really need to rest at the bonfire. Let's just keep going. He's gonna walk off the edge there. But that's not into a dangerous place. The first time I fought these guys, one of them just kind of randomly walked off the edge and died. I don't even know what happened to him, so... Let's not deal with this place anymore. And go back here, which is the place we're supposed to go. Once you get into this tunnel, you'll start seeing messages. And if you rate up the messages, it will heal the person who left it. So let's find a good message here. Are you ready? I don't know. Illusory wall ahead. Give it up in short dead end, because this guy is illusory wall ahead, therefore try slash. Basically people trolling people. There aren't any illusory walls. Praise the sun and then praise the sun. Yeah, some people praising the sun here. Gorgeous view. Yes, I like that one. Lots of praising the sun. Now the real fight begins.